Right, hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about something a bit different from what I usually talk about. And it's been a while since I uploaded a new video as I have been occupied with my studies. I had a final year project going on, and because I was also studying for a certification, and it's the CCNA, which is today's topic of the video. Now, the CCNA exam, if you don't know, is Cisco's Certified Network Associate exam, and it's basically allows you to build your networking fundamentals and familiarizing yourself with Cisco devices. So routers, switches, firewalls, etc. So today I'm gonna be talking about how I passed my CCNA in my first try. So before going into how I passed and giving out some tips, I will be going over the exam topics, right? So what is actually included in the CCNA exam? So in the CCNA exam, you have the network fundamentals, network access, IP connectivity, IP services, security fundamentals, and lastly, automation and programmability. Now, this duration of the exam is 120 minutes, all right? And its available languages are English and Japanese. Now, honestly, you have this exam breakdown that will help you know the percentages of each topic that's included in the exam, right? Now, keep in mind that the CCNA exam is dynamic, right? It's not static, meaning each and every candidate that takes the exam has different set of questions, right? And these questions, the formats of them are performance based questions, multiple choice questions, and drag and drop questions. So if you also want more of a practical idea of how the exam would be like, you could click on that button where it will take you to an exam tutorial where you'll be you'll be met with a video that showcases how the CCNA exam format gonna be like, right? Now you have quite a bit of options on what do you call it, on how you want to study for the CCNA exam. You can take the Cisco CCNA training from their website, right? If you click on the CCNA preparation bundle, give it a minute to load. All right. You can join the Cisco Academy, right? In order to enhance your skills, there are, videos and explanations on, free resources that will help you in your preparation during the exam, right? Now, you also have another option, right? You have the, if you go onto Udemy, this is what I used personally in order to pass my CCNA exam on my first attempt. I used the Cisco CCNA 231, The Complete Guide to Getting Certified by Neil Anderson, right? And I honestly recommend you guys to, if you can, enroll in his course, right? In Udemy. Now, keep in mind that this course specifically is paid and it's not free. So it's probably around like 20 to $30. Now, there is a 30-day money back guarantee. So, if you feel like you didn't gain, what you wanted from this course, you can just, request for a refund, right? Now, there is another really good option, which I also used to pass my CCNA exam. If you go onto YouTube and type in Jeremy IT Lab, right? If you go to onto Jeremy IT Lab, this is what I also used along with my Udemy course to pass the CCNA exam. So this guy right here gives really, really good explanations and breaks down the topics into simple chunks, right? And if you want to get, multiple different perspectives on, each instructor on how they teach the topics, I would suggest that because you then see how, the topics come out from different, sides and perspectives. So you have a better understanding of the topics in general, right? Now, if you want to actually practice the exam, right? I used the practice exams from Boston. Now, this is actually also not free, so you have to subscribe. So, if I'm not mistaken, it was about $100 for 1 year. You have 1 year access to these practice exams and you pay the $100. Now there are, from what I saw, free options available. There aren't many, but there are free options available that you can choose from. I saw that somewhere on Reddit, right? So you can search that up. It's very easy to find the free practice exam resources. Now, why do I recommend Boston, right? So if you see here, I did this is my latest exam, the one that I did before the exam. I think this was like 2 days or so before, right? Before my exam. So this one, right? It gives you about 74 questions, right? From a pool of, I would say, 5 to 6 different exams. So they mesh out the different topics together and you can practice it, right? Now, as you can see here, I got 73% out of 100, which is not the passing rate, right? Now, the passing rate in Boston is 80%, right? I think same as the actual CCNA exam, although Cisco's weightage of each question is different from other practice exams, right? So if you get 70 or above, or even like 60, let's say, that doesn't mean you won't be able to pass the CCNA exam, right? Because from what I saw also from other people, there are people who also got 60s, 55s in their practice exams, and then whenever they went on to the actual CCNA exam, they actually passed their own exam too. Now, I'm gonna give my opinion on how, you know, the mistakes that I did during my exam and how you guys can avoid them, right? So before you actually enter the exam, right? Whenever you sit down, if you go to the test center, right? If you book your exam to be in a test center and you are on the computer, right? And first of all, you don't directly go into the exam, right? First, you have to agree with some documents, terms and conditions, etc. Be careful of skipping through quickly without reading the instructions, right? This is one of the mistakes that I did, is I didn't really pay close attention to the instructions or guides that they gave you in the in the instruction and guide part before the exam actually starts. So whenever I was doing the labs in the actual exam, there was a point where, you should save the labs, in order to um, save your progress, etc. Because you cannot go back to the previous question, right? So whenever you go to the next question, is that's it. You already answered. You can't change your answer, right? So I forgot to save one of my configurations in one of the labs, which most likely, affected my score in a particular topic, right? And that's, the biggest mistake I would say you need to watch out for is make sure you always save the configurations on the labs that you do before moving on to the next question, double check the questions and your answer, etc., before quickly moving on to your next question. Now, which topics I would say were the hardest in the exam? I would say not necessarily hard, but more so, you know, you need to actually like really understand what's happening. I would say, I would say definitely OSPF, the, the OSPF protocol, HSRP, um, the FHRP protocols, NTP, DNS, DHCP, SNMP. So I would say really focus on the fundamentals, right? Fundamentals and IP connectivity parts. Also, do not neglect the automation and programmability, right? Even though it's only 10%, right? This could really help boost or, help you get, easy marks in order to pass your exam in the first try, right? Now, I think this is it. So whenever you pass the exam, you'll get, from Cisco, your certification, right? Your name, your full name. You have successfully completed the CCNA exam with the date certified, valid through your Cisco ID, right? And then you can also, validate, any candidate's ID using, this validation number, etc., right? So honestly, if you study well, it took me about, I would say, if you study like 1 hour each day, it would take you about, I would say, 2 months of good preparation, right? 3 months if you are like a complete beginner to, IT, networking, etc. But you could finish your preparation within even 1 month if you like actually study like every day, more than 2 3 hours, etc. So it all depends on you and your own preparation. So yeah, I think this is it for today's video. I'm gonna try and upload more frequently from now on whenever I have the time, right? Although I'm currently in an internship, so I'm gonna see how that's gonna work out. I'm gonna maybe do one video each week. And if you have any video ideas, you can leave them down in the comments, and make sure you like and subscribe. And then I'll see you in the next video.